Hello everyone, this is RetroFuture, and I am bringing you guys my rad review of Horizon Zero Dawn, the PS4 exclusive game that is making headlines and gaining a notoriety all over the world. It is an amazing game, and I can't wait to get into this game and tell you all about it and tell you what's going on. There's a lot to cover in this review, so I look forward to going over this review. I was highly looking forward to this game, and it did not disappoint, and I can't wait to get into this game and tell you guys what it's all about. So let's get right into it. So we play as Aloy, a small girl who was orphaned at birth and outcast as a member of the Nora tribe, treated as like a second-class citizen, completely outcast from the main tribe, and treated with utter contempt and disdain. She gets no respect, and when she asks why she's an outcast, why she has to be treated like this, why everyone has to hate her and loathe her existence, she's not given any answers. No one wants to tell her, so in order for her to acquire answers, she's going to have to challenge the system that she has been born into. This system of oppression in the case. As you can see, other people treat her with utter contempt and they think that she's worthless. So she decides to challenge the system by undergoing the Proving, a rite of passage that allows her to become a member of the warrior class, what is known as a brave. And that way, once she is a brave, she can get answers as to her past, who her parents really are, and why she was treated as an outcast. Fast forward, several years, and now Aloy is a fully grown adult and more than capable of holding her own in the wilderness, in a post-apocalyptic future where mankind has been pushed to near extinction and is back into a tribalistic group settings of cultures where they behave as similar to tribes where they worship gods. Aloy is now capable of holding her own in the heat of battle out in the wilderness. But as you would expect, since an outcast, she is still an outcast, and since an outcast is partaking in the rite of passage of the Proving, she is treated with utter contempt and disdain once again, not only by other participants in the Proving, but also by some of the graders and proctors who are overseeing the event and grading the students on whether or not they pass or fail. But this does nothing more than fuel Aloy's resolve, and she eventually goes on to win the Proving and become a brave. However, things go south really bad. Once Aloy wins, the entire Proving is attacked by the Shadow Karja, a rogue faction formerly belonging to the Karja tribe, and they decide to target and kill Aloy for unknown reasons. She has no idea why. Ross, the man who raised Aloy and is the only one who treated her with any kindness whatsoever, has to sacrifice his life in order to save Aloy so that she does not die. So even when Aloy wins the Proving and feels like her life is going somewhere and is about to get answers, she suffers a great personal loss. And the matriarchs of the Nora tribe decide, you know what, we need to figure out answers as to why we were attacked, and we're going to make you, Aloy, a seeker and head out and set out into the world and find those answers out yourself, as well as the answers you have to your own personal life and history. And so that's where the story really kicks off. As Aloy, you're running around the world, exploring and adventuring, going to cities, towns, villages, encountering new machines, interacting with new characters, and essentially learning more about the world as you level up and become more and more of a solidified, bona fide badass. Now, when it comes to the story from here on out, the story is actually pretty unique. I like the story. It's a post-apocalyptic world where humanity has pretty much been bottlenecked and is on the brink of extinction, and there's these machines all over the place that behave as if they're animals, but react aggressively and violently if they encounter another human. It doesn't matter what tribe they are, Karja, Nora, it doesn't matter. They react violently. So the storyline, it pretty much leads you to believe that at one point humanity created these machines and the machines eventually took over. And that is true to an extent. But now the question was, okay, well, how did humanity deal with this? How did we survive? Because at one point the human race was on the brink of extinction themselves. And there's more and more revealed, and eventually it gets to the plot. One of the more intriguing plot twists that took place in here was that the human race actually did not survive. The human race was wiped out entirely. There are data logs that Aloy finds that explain the human race was wiped out. But how humans are alive today? They created Gaia, an artificial intelligence that is able to think, act, and feel completely on its own as if it were human, and this AI was created with the sole purpose of genetically recreating the human race after the machines wiped out all the humans. The humans realized that there was no way that they could defeat the machines. The machines were too smart, and they were able to absorb biomass. They were able to absorb the life from humans that they killed and use that to recreate and reproduce at a rate where the humans just could not compete. The humans could not kill them faster than the machines were growing. So the human race decided, look, we're screwed. The best thing we can do is create Gaia and hope for the future. Hope for life in the future. And that was one of the really good plot twists about the story that I truly do like. The story is amazing, and there's more and more twists as things go along. I don't want to tell too much, but let's just say the overall villain is rather interesting. It's not what you would expect, and it's not like super epic or evil, but it is very, very different. And the story of this game is very solid, and I give it a lot of praise. Now, when it comes to the combat system of Horizon Zero Dawn is very standard. You have L2 to aim with your bow and R2 to fire arrows, and then you can use your, and when you're not holding L2 to aim, your R1 and R1 interchangeably will do light and heavy attacks with Aloy's spear. And you can also use it to knock off armor or to knock the enemy machines down, so you can stab and impale them with a critical hit to do massive damage. However, one of the most unique aspects is the wheels, the item wheel and the weapon wheel. These are items where you can equip certain weapons, and you can have up to 4 different weapons equipped at a time. And each one of these weapons will have multiple types of ammunition. Some will only have one starting out, but the rarer the weapons you get, the more ammo and the different types of ammo you can have equipped. Some ammo have certain augmentations, like the ability to freeze your opponents, or to shock them, or to set them on fire, or to corrupt them. Corrupting is actually very useful because it can turn a wild machine against other wild machines in the area, and they can fight out amongst each other while you just sit back and watch and, enjoy the show. So that's the weapon wheel. Now the item wheel is Aloy can have a bunch of items. She can have potions. She can also recover wild herbs to increase her reserves of health. Or she can also equip traps. These little traps are stuff you set on the ground, and when an enemy walks over them, it'll detonate and deal damage. However, it'll also it'll alert the enemy to being, hey, there's something in the area, but your position is not immediately given away. So it's very useful to use the item wheel and the weapon wheel, combo stuff together, and just use all the items and all your resources at hand in order to take down your opponents, whether they be human or machine. Visually, the game is absolutely stunning. I expect no less from a PS4 game, but the open world exploration feel about this game, and just the ability for you to climb rocks, climb mountains, and overlook the territory. I even managed to see the sun rising. The fact that I could look at the horizon and I saw the sun slowly rise up and continue rising over the horizon, I was just in awe at that. I was like, holy shit, that is absolutely good. That's amazing. I could not believe it. I was like, this game, they went all out on. I give props to Guerrilla. Visually, this game is spectacular. The music is okay. It could be better. It didn't feel as epic in certain areas. But the battle, when the music picks up when you're in a fight, that's kind of cool and all that. But for the most part, the music, I would say, it's not terrible, but it's nothing outstanding or spectacular. The visual aspect of the game, the graphics, that is definitely a stronger point than the audio part. But still, everything looks absolutely stunning and gorgeous, so you really won't notice the soundtrack being kind of forgettable, in my opinion. Now, other mechanics in the game involve the basic currency, where whenever you defeat a machine or defeat enemies, usually you can go over and loot their bodies, and they'll have item parts, money. This game deals basic currency in shards. Whenever you kill something, it probably has shards on it. You go in, loot the body, and that's the money you get. And you need shards in order to buy ammunition, to buy weapons, to buy stronger weapons, to buy gear and other stuff, to buy costumes. There's a lot of different things available in the shop mechanic, and you need shards in order to do that. The shop mechanic allows you to buy armor, to buy weapons, to buy ammunition, to buy other resources. It's very important that you loot as many dead bodies as you can and acquire all the weapons. However, you are limited in terms of what you can carry. There's a limit to how much you can carry. So it's very important to pay attention to what's in your inventory and drop a few items and that's very important. However, there's a scavenging ability. The scavenging ability in this game is another mechanic where you literally just wander around the wild and you can get sticks, you can get herbs, you can get all this other stuff, and then you can drop it if you don't need it, and you can drop it in bulk. Like one time I dropped over 1,000 pieces of, branch, 1,000 branch pieces, because I'm like, okay, I'll get rid of you guys because I don't need you, because I need room for other stuff. There's wires, there's machine parts that allow you to make certain arrows that have certain abilities, like fire or ice or whatnot. So it's very important that you pay attention to your inventory and that you also upgrade your backpack whenever possible. Your upgrades allow you to either increase the types of ammos that you can carry, the number of arrows you can carry in each type, the amount of costumes that you can carry, the amount of outfits, how big your backpack is so you can carry more resources. So definitely spend the time to gather resources so you can upgrade your character so you can carry even more resources and more weapons and so on and so forth. Very important that you do that. Another feature about customizing is the ability to augment your weapons. Now, you can't really augment your arrows and the types of ammunition that you carry, but you can augment the weapons. So that, say, a bow has a natural affinity for increased fire damage. Well, you can use certain modifiers that you get off of dead machines or that you can buy from shopkeepers that allow you to increase that weapon's capability to inflict ice damage or shock damage or corruption. And the same thing can go with the armor that you buy. The armor that you buy can also be modified so that you're more resistant to fire, that you're more resistant to corruption, that you're more resistant to ice or melee damage or ranged attacks, and so on and so forth. So it's very important that you upgrade as much as possible so that Aloy just becomes an unstoppable force of destruction and a total badass. One other mechanic that I like is the ability to learn how to hack machines. This is an excellent alternative to combat. Instead of attacking a robot, you can sneak up on them in like tall grass and hack them. And by hacking them, you turn them into friendlies. So it's not the same as corrupting them. They're friendlies that will fight beside you, but they won't attack you. Whereas a corrupted machine will attack anything. It'll attack anything that isn't corrupted with it. So hacking is done by going into places in the map known as cauldrons. These cauldrons are essentially factories where machines are made. You have to defeat the boss at the center of each cauldron. Once you defeat the boss, you can access that cauldron's information and you can unlock the ability to hack multiple types of enemies. There's like 20 different robots throughout the game, 20 different types of machines. Each cauldron will give you access to hacking certain types of machines. So there's multiple cauldrons you'll have to go around and definitely explore and try and get. So it's very important that you explore all the cauldrons. There are enemy bandit camps. You explore those bandit camps, kill all them. There's tall necks, these giant giraffe-looking creatures that you hack, and when you hack these creatures, when you log into their account and use them, it highlights an entire section of the map, like a fourth or a fifth of the map is highlighted, and so are other items and objectives in the area. So it's very important that you take the opportunity and the time to explore and not just focus on the main story. The main story is important, obviously, but take the time to really explore. There's so much in this game. There's so much extra stuff outside the main story that it just gives you so much to do. And I really like that. I like when games have so much, yet it doesn't feel like too much. This is like kind of like, more Tomb Raider or Batman Arkham Asylum. There's a lot, but it doesn't feel like it's too much. And I really do like these kinds of games that have so much content, yet it doesn't feel too overwhelming. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is bonus content. Now, we haven't had access to a whole lot of extra content. There is the, there's not really a new game plus, but once you beat the game, you go back and the game's like, okay, we're going to start you off right here, where right before you would start the final series of events to finish the game. You keep all your progress, you keep the levels that you get to, which is awesome because the final sequence alone leveled me up like 3 or 4 times, so it was pretty cool. But you start off and you can, everything you did not finish, you can go back and finish now. So I've already beaten the game, and now I can leisurely pursue the Platinum Trophy in this game. I look forward to it greatly. This game is amazing, and I can't wait to Platinum this game. But there's not a whole lot of bonus content right now. However, it has been hinted that there is bonus content on the way, so I'm looking forward to that. And that's going to completely round out the review of Horizon Zero Dawn. My final score, You know what? I gotta say, I don't think I can really give it anything less than a 10 out of 10. I really think this game deserves a 10 out of 10. It is easily one of the best games I have ever played. A very good character that makes you feel for her situation and the life she was born into and how unfair it is, and you sympathize with her. Good storytelling, interesting plot development and plot twists, and the character grows and matures along with the storyline, and she eventually dawns the understands the purpose behind why she is alive, who she really is, what her purpose is, and the story is excellent. The scenery is beautiful. The music is okay. There's a lot to do, a lot of additional optional mechanics and additional content in the game, optional side missions and quests and stuff like that. There's a lot to do. There's more coming on the way in terms of extra DLC from what I understand. So I have to give this game a 10 out of 10. It hooked me. I loved it. I played it leisurely. There were a little frustrating combat moments, but that's really just you learning the game. Once you learn how to approach certain enemies and you learn how, and you get creative with your fighting tactics, the game is very fun. It's entertaining. You can hack enemies, you can override them, you can corrupt them, turn them against each other. It's very fun. There's a lot to do. The game does not feel all that repetitive. The enemies are pretty nasty, and I gotta say, this game really blew me away, and I highly recommend it to anyone and everyone with a PS4. And that's going to do it for my rad review of Horizon Zero Dawn. It gets a 10 out of 10. I thank you all for watching this review, and I will see you guys all next time.